Stevie, thank you for joining me. Really appreciate you giving up your time because you sound like a very busy person. So, what came first, the dentistry or triathlons? What were you into first?
Went to dental school first and basically put on a bit of weight in first year and came back and dad was like, you look a bit tubby because you're not doing as much, you're probably just drinking and getting a beer gut, so you should probably do some other stuff. So then I thought, well, I'm a student, what can I do that's cheap that I can do, and everyone runs, right? You see everyone out running in cities, there's lots of runners. So I was like, I can do that, I'll try that. I've never run before, was always really not very sporty at all. Like, I'd done karate and stuff at home, but never been like a track and field or anything. So went out and did running, was like, this is really hard. And then mum entered me for a 10K and she's like, well, when you come back next Christmas, you've got a 10K to do, so you better keep working at it because, I was like, oh, right, okay. Not one to ever be defeated and never drop out of anything. I was like, well, I've got to do that now because you've entered me. And then I joined the rowing team in, I think it was my third year. And I was a cox rather than a rower. They needed some coxes, the bossy little person that steers the boat and shouts at everybody. But part of that is you have to do all the land training. So the best coxes are the people that kind of like work with the teams, do all the workouts together. So I just got fitted through that and realised that my running was okay, but I was getting a bit injured. And so whilst I was at uni then, took up the triathlon and just said, this is probably going to be good way for me to keep fit, hang out with all the rowers, like maintain my weight for what I was doing, and also make sure I didn't get injured. So I think it was my last year at uni, I did my first triathlon. So I came and did it back home. I did a duathlon whilst I was up there as well. I like jumped my bike onto the train from Newcastle to Durham, like hooned it to the start on my bike, did the race, and then grabbed a little trophy and carried it in my back pocket back home and was like, yeah, no, this is all right. I can do multi-sport. Maybe I'll do this again.
Okay, so how did you fit your dental studies in around the, rowing, I guess? Was that quite...
Yeah, I think the rowing was actually really good because they always say if you want something done, give it to a busy person. And I started to realise how true that was because you're kind of working out, that was where I started working out twice a day. And that just became a normal thing because you'd get up and you'd go and do strength and conditioning and I'd be doing something slightly different to them, doing my own thing, but just to be there in the gym with those guys. And then, so, early start, get up, do that, and then go and do your studies. And it was kind of like, you knew you had to get the work done because if you wanted to go out and have playtime, you had to do the work time first. And I think a lot of my kind of colleagues maybe didn't have the same drive to get it done and had, a lot of people were staying up late into the night to do deadlines for essays the night before and stuff. And I wasn't doing that because I didn't have the option because I had to be away at competitions and, doing stuff. And I had to go to sessions. So it wasn't an option for me to do it. So I think that's probably where the time management element came in, because if you haven't got a choice, then you just have to get it done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When did you first realize then that you might have an ability, you are good at triathlons? When was that first realization?
I don't know. I still don't think I'm that good. I went out, like I said, I did this duathlon and I finished like near the bottom, but there was nobody in my age group, so I got this little trophy and I was quite pleased with it, and I was like, yeah, I've got this little trophy. And and I just went off and I did it for fun and I did it for the sense of achievement and the kind of social aspect. It was always a good day out, and I just had a thirst for the training as well, and I didn't really take it that seriously in the start. I just wanted to go out and ride my bike and do running, and I just wanted to do better all the time. I always wanted to do better. So whatever I did, well, I want to do that a bit better. Can I go a bit quicker? Like, oh, somebody's doing that now. Maybe I should try that. Or that's making me go a bit faster. Like maybe my swimming could be a bit faster. And I just worked at it and I kept going and going and going. And over the last 10 years, it's just then climbed my way up the rankings. And that's, it's taken 10 years to be where I am now. It's more like 8 years, but yeah, it's taken that amount of time. So yeah, I've never seen myself as somebody that has a gift for it. I've always seen myself as somebody that's a very, very hard worker. And if I want to do something, I'll just go and work really hard. And when I first started, I said, well, what I want to do is Ironman. So that's what I'll go and do. And I had this kind of 5-year plan of what I was going to do and got there and did it. And then went, well, what am I going to do now? Well, maybe I could go and do all of those distances again, but I could just do them better. And I went back to the sprint distance so I could kind of hang out with my family a bit more. And I was like, well, let's just see how fast can you do it? And yeah, here we are.
you say you started climbing up the rankings, so you got quicker through the training, and did you find yourself, I don't know, trying different things and just getting better at it then?
Yeah, it was just a case of I've always been somebody who I want to understand why things happen. And obviously, being a dentist, you know, we have a good knowledge of physiology and kind of medical stuff and science in general and how things work. I think generally, as dentists, we're quite interested in how things work. You know, we work with materials and people and stuff like that. So for me, I was like, well, training's exactly the same. I want to understand how it works. And so you know, I read books, I read magazines. I was like, right, how am I going to get faster? How does this work? How does training work? Like, how do you do it? And I just coached myself to do better based on what I knew and my background in physiology and how that worked, and then just applied it in a sports sense, and kind of married the two. And I think it gave me a really unique approach because obviously I had the drive, but I also had an ability to understand science. So I could actually go and read sports science papers and stuff like that and understand how training works, and then apply that for myself. So I haven't had a coach until this year. And I just did it all myself until I got to a point where I was like, no, I think I've exhausted my knowledge now and the thing that I can do, and I'm getting a bit busy, so maybe I should let somebody else tell me how to do it now.
And so where do you find the time to do it, Stevie? Where do you work? What practice do you work at, and how do you find the time to do all of the training?
So I work for Bupa, which is about 20 minutes away. I'm at Bupa in Taunton, which was a change that happened like right at the start of COVID. So that was great timing. Get a new job when everyone's not sure if they have a job anymore. But yeah, so I started off in an independent practice and I worked 4 days a week. So I always had like the weekend plus a day to train, and I wasn't really doing too much outside of that. And then, you know, I was getting a bit bored. So I thought, well, I'll go and do some other stuff, did my aesthetics training, and then thought I wanted to do a bit more with that. Started my own business with that and coaching and wellness and things like that. And then made a switch to Bupa so I could work 3 days a week. And they're a great team down there. And because I think one of the advantages of working with a corporate is the fact that everything's taken care of for me. So, you know, I can literally go in and do dentisting and hang out and do all that and then just go home. And I think I'm only 20 minutes away, so I can pop off to the pool in the morning, get my swim done, go off to work again, have kind of like second breakfast and a coffee with my nurse, catch up on what we're doing for the day, work there, occasionally have a couple of meetings at lunchtime with either my coach or some of my other clients from my business. And then after work, I'll come home, quick snack on the way home, and then do a second session for the day. But I think having a team that works for you really, really hard. So having Bupa working for me really hard when I'm at work is really important, because it means that I'm not worried and I'm not distracted when I'm outside of there. And that's exactly the same for Dentura, who sponsor me as well, because they just take care of me. So I don't have to worry about it. And it makes it very easy because you have to be able to separate work and training quite clearly. And having a team that supports you to do that is really, really important. So yeah, it just works when you're not worried about it, and you can go, right, I'm training now, right, take that brain out, now I'm going to put my dentistry brain in, right, I'm doing that now, and just be able to do that every day, really.
So take us through a typical week then, Stevie. Do you train twice a day every day?
Pretty much. So Monday I am usually in my office here doing my business stuff, so I've got plenty of time then.
What your business? That's the Wonder Clinic, right?
Yes, yeah. So Wonder Clinic is basically my elite wellness business. So I run an aesthetics clinic on Saturdays, but I also have clients who I coach, my performance clients. So I've applied all the strategies that I use in terms of my abilities in sports and all the lessons I've learned through that, and how I manage a busy life and all the rest of it. And I help other people to do the same in whatever it is that they want to achieve. So we do a lot of weight loss and nutrition coaching as well, and helping people to be really healthy, and how to fit that in with kind of modern lifestyles. So Monday, I'm kind of running that from here, from the war room, as I call it. So I'm doing that. So I have time to fit in a couple of sessions on a Monday, because I'm a bit more flexible with my time. So it's always, if I'm training twice a day, it's always an early session in the morning. So I'm down the pool for like 6:30, or I'm out running by 6:30. and then get back, have something to eat. Then if I'm at work, so if I'm down at Bupa, I'll obviously just go straight to work. If I'm here, again, I'll just come straight to the office. And then I usually have a couple of snack breaks timetabled wherever I am because I'm normally hungry all the time. And then quick lunch break, maybe some meetings at lunch. Second session, either if I'm at work again at Bupa, then obviously second clinic in the afternoon. If I'm here, I'll often do a very gentle session. So I might have a client on Zwift, which is like I don't know if you've heard of Zwift. It's basically like a bicycle kind of like a turbo trainer. So you sit on the static bike and it turns into like a video game. So you can meet up with people on there and they can do a session and I can talk to them and just give them a little bit of coaching whilst we're cycling together. So it's a bit like having a virtual cycling group. So I might do that in the afternoon and then quick snack again, and then I'll go out and do my training, which is usually a hard turbo session, and then I'll jump straight off and go for a run, or I might do a harder running session. So the evening session is usually a bit harder. Sometimes like on a Wednesday I work later because I have slightly different hours with Bupa on a Wednesday, so I'll come home and I'll do a weight session, strength and conditioning, stuff like that. Yeah, and then dinner and then bed, and it's usually 9 or 10 o'clock to bed, and it's normally up at like 5.
Right. Do you have a rest day? Do you have days that you?
We have easier training days, but I generally, unless it's competition week, I don't have a rest day as such. So I'll have a day where I'll just do a swim. So sometimes on a Thursday I'll just do a swim, or on a Friday I'll just do a swim, and then I'm geared up for the weekend. So Saturday then I can go out and do a long bike for a couple of hours, and then I'll maybe go and swim in the sea, and then Sunday I'll have a couple of longer sessions as well. So the rest day is normally to prepare you for the weekend.
Fair enough. We spoke to a rower actually, and he said a lot of the rowers that he hangs around have really bad oral health because they have to take on lots of sugary snacks. And it works the other way as well. Bad oral health can lead to bad general health as well. So is oral health an important part of your training?
Yeah, massively. I think what we're learning more and more now is, and certainly what I try and have conversations with my colleagues about as well as my patients, is there isn't dentistry and health, like the two, we've treated them as separately for so long, and we've kind of, I think as dentists as well, we've sometimes neglected things about thinking about diet. And for me, more and more, and it's coming back to the fore now, is that food is medicine, is not just fuel, and you are what you eat. And teeth are a really good reflection of that. If you eat sugar all of the time, what do you see? You see tooth decay, because our teeth are not designed to consume all that sugar, because our bodies are not designed to consume all that sugar. And even as somebody who's competing in sprint distance, very high intensity exercise all of the time, I still watch what I have in terms of sugar, and educating my patients in the same way is really important. And it actually makes it really relatable for them. If I say, well, I'm an athlete, and when I go out on the bicycle, I'll have water instead of having fruit juice or whatever, that's easy for them to understand. And I think we see more and more about things like gut health as well, which as dentists we need to be really aware of, because exactly the same things that have an impact on your mouth and your oral health have an impact on your gut. So things like alcohol. One of the ones that I think we need to cover more of is stuff like artificial sweeteners, because we know that that can have an impact on gut health. And as dentists, we often advise people to buy sugar-free things because that's safe for teeth, but we're not looking at it as an overall picture. So I think there's two sides to the story. And I think all of the healthcare professionals, doctors, dentists, everybody who's involved in that has a responsibility. And I think there is so much that we can talk about to our patients in terms of their lifestyle, and in particular their diet and their hydration and all that sort of thing. And in terms of the training that I do, like I say, it makes it really relatable. And as somebody that has to be really mindful about what I'm putting into my body and what impact that has, it means I've done a lot of reading and a lot of research about it, and I can pass that knowledge on and have those conversations with patients and also with my colleagues to help them to help their patients as well. And I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, of course. And what is the do you speak to other competitors? What is the general oral health like amongst athletes?
Yeah, pretty poor. I think it's getting better now. I think the trouble is we as competitors, you're given this goodie bag at the end or like before, and it's like use all these gels and it's just sugar and a tube, and you need to have one of the greatest things that my coach said to me, and he was like, you're gonna hate me for this, and he was like, what I want you to do is get a bottle of glucose mix, so energy drink for your bike, because we only on the bike for like 40 minutes. And you can do something called mouth rinsing. So there's evidence that if you actually just rinse your mouth out with carbohydrate containing drink, then you'll still absorb a little bit without having to digest it. And I was like, what you just said just blows my mind, because that is one way to get caries, isn't it? It's just rinse my mouth out with sugar. That's great. But you've got age group athletes who are looking for the edge. Everybody's looking for what's going to make the smallest difference, because we're all training really hard. But you're also with a group of people who are neophiles. They want to know the latest thing, and they want to know, they want to feel like they're taking on sciencey things. They don't want to know that they can do it on water and a banana. They want to have, what's the latest fad that I can have? And unfortunately, pages in magazines and stuff like that is all about, you need a carbohydrate drink, you need an energy gel, you need to be having an energy gel every 20 minutes. Like if you do that on a long race, that's a lot of sugar. So trying to speak to athletes and say, actually, maybe you don't need that much, and maybe it would be better if you trained yourself to burn fat for longer races and had real food, and the benefits of that and why it's important to your general health, and how that's going to help you not have fillings, and why it's important not to have bad oral health in terms of not getting toothache when you're training and stuff like that, and not having abscesses, and what impact that's going to have. It's difficult, but you also don't want to bore people with it, but it's when people come up to you and talk to you about nutrition, because people want to talk about it, it's a good opportunity to talk to them about the benefits. And then you're a dentist, and also how that will help you at, with your teeth and everything else.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so what are the plans for the future, Stevie? I know you've just raced just last weekend, didn't you? And
yeah, I've literally got back off the plane yesterday.
Really good finish as well, wasn't it? Was it top 10 you finished?
Yeah, top 10 finish. So yeah. I'm now seeded 9th in Europe, which was pretty good.
Wow.
But yeah, there's still some work to do. So next year, we were supposed to be off to the World Championships in a couple of weeks in Bermuda, but unfortunately it's been cancelled because of COVID, because COVID's ruined everything this year. But next year, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a good year. And I've got the World Championships have been rescheduled to Montreal in Canada, which will be awesome. So we're off there in June, and we have European Championships in Munich next year in August. So yeah, we basically be saying, how do we get better now? It's going to be a really good competitive field next year as well. So yeah, just spending the winter kind of training and then seeing what we can do. Obviously, I've only been working with my coach for a short time, so committing to that for a little bit longer, and then seeing how much we can improve and how much faster we can go for next year, really.
And then what's your plans for the Wonder Clinic and working for Bupa and fitting those in as well?
So the Wonder Clinic is always growing. Obviously, we have little hiatuses where I'm racing. We're not doing so much in the business, and kind of my clients understand that that I have a couple of weeks off every now and then. But yeah, I'm hoping to grow that in terms of the coaching that I'm doing, because I really want to spread the message about health and wellness and how important that is. I'm trying to help dentists with it as well. Just saying, it's not enough just to be really good at dentistry. You have to be looking after yourself as well, and what a difference that makes, and kind of applying, like I say, those lessons that I've learned. So I want to kind of package that up and give it to people and help people, and go back to, I think we've created a really complicated modern world that we live in, and I think it's really important for people to be able to navigate that a bit better and understand what a difference their health and wellness can make to that. And that's what I want to do. So the Wonder Clinic is going to be focusing a lot on coaching in that sense, and building confidence and building leaders and helping people perform a little bit better, even just in their everyday lives, not necessarily being, elite level athletes, but being great all-round people and being able to do what they want to do and living long and healthy lives. At Bupa, I'm getting stuck into my Invisalign and my aesthetic dentistry, loving that. I've really got a kind of renewed vigor for dentistry now, in the last couple of years, making a switch in my job, and hanging out with the guys at Denture a little bit more, and stuff like that, because it means that I'm kind of talking to more dentists, which is really nice, and not just about dentistry, and yeah, just finding my groove a little bit more. And I've got a great team down at Bupa who are awesome, who really help me out and kind of make sure that I go home from work and I'm not stressed, I'm chilled, and I can go into training and not worry about it, which is cool. So yeah, just loving working there and just keeping fitting everything in, really.
Well, Stevie, thank you for your time. I really appreciate talking
You're
to
very
you.
welcome.